In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to use functions in your JavaScript applications. Functions are one of the most powerful programming tools you can possibly use. They allow you to build out code that you can reuse later on. And if you're trying to do anything advanced in computer science or in programming, you really need to be able to use functions quite easily because you're going to be using them throughout all your applications. JavaScript makes it extremely easy to create a function, and I'm gonna start out by showing you how to do it. Then in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to nest functions and how to use them practically. So in order to create a function, you just start off with the keyword function, and then you give it a name. So you can say function my function. You can name it anything you want, and then you have to choose what you want to pass into that function. So in this case, we're going to do num1 and num2. So do function my function, and then then you give curly brackets, and then you just return a function. In this case, we're going to just do a very simple multiplication function. So we're going to do return num1 times num2, semicolon, into curly brackets, and that's it. You've created your first function. Now to call this function, there's a few ways we can do it. One way, and the way we're going to use right here, is to assign it to a variable. So we're going to do var, and we're going to say, just call it my var, for lack of a better term, and then equals, type in my function, and then you pass it 2 parameters because that's what it asks for. So we're going to pass it 10 and 2, and that's it. So now my function will be assigned to my var, and then we're just going to alert it out so we can see what it looks like. So we're going to do alert my var and see if that works. So we'll click run. And there you go. 10 times 2 is 20, so it alerted out the correct amount. So just to review how this works, right up here, this is the way that you write up a function, and this was an incredibly simple function. There's no real point to doing something like this one because you could just do a multiplication and it would do it automatically. But in the next tutorial, we're going to go into how you can actually use them and make them worthwhile. But for the sake of seeing how it works, we created a function. We passed parameters into it. So when you these can also be called arguments. So you can pass things in, and then once inside the function block, and this is what's called as a function block, you use these names. So you select these type names, whatever you decided to name these, and it's arbitrary. So we gave it num1 and num2. So we gave them those numbers, and then within the function we can assign those or put them however we want, but we do have to use those exact names. And the thing that makes this powerful is we'll come here really quick and we'll copy this, and we'll do my var2, and we can still call my function, and this time we're going to assign it 5 and 50. So we'll end up with 250 here. And you see we didn't have to do anything else. We just gave it two different numbers here, and then we'll go my var2 in the alert message. So now inside this function block, we're going to send it 5 and 50 instead of 10 and 2. And we'll run this. And you see the answer we get, 250. So that's working perfectly. The other thing that you can do, you don't always have to pass in parameters, even though you will usually have to do that. But say you just wanted something to run for some reason and you had arbitrary numbers, or you can even do what we'll do is do a string. So we do my function, and you don't send in any arguments, and then we'll give it a string. So we'll say you selected my function. And so now when we will come down here and give my var my function, and you still, if you're going to call a function, the right way to call it in JavaScript is you just type it in. If you have arguments or parameters, you put them in the parentheses. If you don't, so if it doesn't call for them, don't put any in there. So now we're going to be assigning this my function into my var, and then we're going to alert that out. And let's see if this works. There you go. It put in there, you've selected my function. So you've seen how to use integers and strings in functions, and in the next tutorial we're going to go over how to use these on a practical basis.